Bule will tell you a few altercations there. It was hard to get a win in Mbale.
Yeah, Bule, of course, Coach Mitchell in 2016 did say that Mbale Stadium is one of the stadiums that are very hard actually to play against. Taking a look at where actually Mbale Heroes Stadium is situated. This is Mbale Municipal Stadium, and I'm certain that you visited that stadium on a couple of occasions. How does it feel playing against Mbale at their own backyard?
The atmosphere is always raucous when you're playing against teams from the Mbale side. There is Kataka, there's Mbale Heroes. Also, there are some teams who use the Mbale Municipal Stadium. But the raucous crowd that SC Villa is going to really meet in Mbale Municipal Stadium is going to be troublesome to them. I myself have played in that pitch, but it was not in the league because Mbale Heroes or Kataka were not in the StarTimes Premier League, but definitely some friendlies. But I believe it's going to be a good atmosphere for Mbale Heroes. This is their first game back in the StarTimes Premier League. Will they make it work for themselves? Really, the fans are looking for that. And I read on a social media platform, it was banter that maybe the AC Villa players are going to be circumcised today. And hopefully it happens.
We are in the evening year, so
they'll be waiting.
That can happen. But obviously, when taking a look at the stadium and the vibe that used to happen during those days, Tendo actually did tell me that they beat SCV on the semi-finals to go and win Uganda Cup. It was 1999, Tendo?
Yeah, 1999.
Under Sam Simbwa.
Yeah, under Sam Simbwa. One of the players was Waswa Bosa, Eugene Sepuya. So it was a very, very big side then. They made a lot of talking points, but of all the matches they have played, there are over 40 actually. 37 of them are in the league, including the 3 times they played in 1998, because the season had to have 3 games. And in one of those games, Villa beat Mbale Heroes by 10 goals to nil. Many people will remember that. Edgar Watson getting the highest score in his life, over 5 goals, including a striker. He was not, he was a midfielder then, because then the strikers were Andrew Mukasa, Hassan Mobiru, and Charles Kayemba. But he was in so much form that everything he touched became gold. You know that midfield diamond he had. Kim Magumba playing the 0 touches, you know those 0 touches, and he takes people away and Edgar has to shoot. And you know the shooting technique for him was just placing the ball, not shooting like a hand shot. So it was very incredible. The Muzungu actually had a field day there. Then there was another 5-0 scoreline still in that season. But the biggest time that Mbale was ferocious was 99. Actually, they faulted Sports Club Villa in that season, and then they eliminated them the Uganda Cup. That is the time where Sam Simbwa led them to the trophy. And from that time, I think it was hard to win, because if you remember even the friendly where Waswa Bosa took, the side by then was a lower league side, still the Mbale side won. And so much has happened, and including the fact that the greatest Villa player and captain after Edgar Watson, Paul Asule, was scouted from Mbale Heroes in 1981, after that time when they forced them to a goalless draw. So there has been a lot of moments where Villa has been getting players from Mbale.
Even Paul Asule's brother was scouted from Mbale.
Yeah, but by the time they got him, he was playing for Nightil. Geoffrey Higenyi. But then they took Eugene Sepuya, of course. Mbale took him from Villa. He didn't get playing time. Then he became a big player. At the time when Mbale needed him, Villa took him back. Then they took Hussein Mbarangu. They took Abed Bironse. Even Ande Mwesigwa at his starting stage, he was taken by Mitchell in that 2-0 game in the Uganda Cup, where Mitchell struggled to win because he needed to take the double. So you think that there has been so much bad blood there in between, and the fact that in Mbale and Arua is where you find the most Sports Club Villa fans outside Kampala. Even more than Masaka, where Villa had been for quite some time.
Even the Kataka fans will be donning blue with the Jogo on the bike.
We'll be supporting But obviously, after 18 years Bule, now they are back in Total Fight League. You could think that maybe they'll need something that is beyond the vibe that will be around the stadium. And what are some of the things that you need that maybe Mbale Heroes have worked on? Because obviously, the two sides, as Tend have been mentioning, that they have been picking from each other certain players. Even today, we shall see players with their captain, who was their longest serving player at Mbale Heroes, and Bangakeni joining SC Villa. And then the other side, Sekaja, Davis Sekaja, joining Mbale Heroes.
Definitely, even Delton Oyo.
Delton Oyo.
And then even Malinga was sometime at AC Villa. So there's bad blood, as Tendo was speaking about it. We're only waiting to see what a Fiesta is going to be on the pitch. But my look will be still at the players, both sides, as we mentioned them, how they're going to handle this game. But as Mbale, you've just got back in the league, you really need to get that survival slot at least. Because they played a good game in Nachivugo. How are they going to approach this game? When they're at home, they have the fans around them, and then maybe the backing, because they had a corporate dinner where sponsorship came through. At least it was a start. They show that they want it for sustainability. It should be going for them. My only point, infrastructure-wise, they need to really make a good use of it, at least if they are to be in the StarTimes Premier League.
Okay. On several occasions, of course, Mbale FC fans are good at traveling as well. I saw them actually putting up that a strong vibe at Nachivugo Stadium when they're playing against Express FC. But Tendo, Richard Malinga, who played at KCC, and then he won a trophy with the KCC FC, is now in charge of Mbale Heroes. I don't know what to make of his experience. Maybe the time has been in football. And what does he put at Mbale Heroes?
Well, another pairing of friendly fire, Richard Malinga and Mbale Heroes are probably the closest of friends you would ever have for coaches in Uganda. At a certain moment, Richard Malinga acted as the chauffeur for Mbale Heroes. So for both of them being at opposite dugouts, it's going to be very emotional. Remember, he was even the head of the junior team at KCCA when Mbale was the assistant manager to Mike Mutebi. And it is going to be very emotional. They played together in the national team. And they are very, very, very good friends. I don't know how much they're going to be talking there, because you know exactly what happens when coaches meet. Sometimes you want to play mind games and all that. They all know what they can say to each other to cut their wires. So that is going to be a feisty encounter, especially if the game is tight and one of them wants to unlock the other. It's going to be a little fiery. And when you look at the Mbale fans, I think they have been starved of league action. The last team that was playing in the Premier League there was CRO after Mbale Heroes went. So you think that they're going to be very passionate. And emotionally, going to that stadium, that actually was branded Kataka at a certain moment, to the extent that even the team they became Kataka FC. And having that green back is an emotional thing. And I don't know what the Kataka people are going to be supporting, because they are the ones that actually led the making of that stadium green during COVID, the likes of Mafuko, Latif and Hassan Chirunda and the team at Kataka FC. For Bule to say that they are going to be Villa fans, it's because of the beef that has been there. I don't know how it's going to happen, but it's really something very amazing. And
but actually,
it's evident.
I found some of the Kataka FC fans, when they are coming to support Express, when Mbale Heroes was coming to Express.
That is the beef there. And you know, them playing on that pitch, I know the fans will say, hey, you would have been playing at a Kataka pitch if you hadn't invested money and all that. And so now it's really going to be...
and now there's the pain that Mbale Heroes reorganized when Kataka was about to get into the season.
They come and fluke.
And then they come
and before Kataka.
The pain is there. So you expect the animosity to be really bad there.
It's really going to be
ahead of this game, Mbale, of course, there's a couple of players that left Mbale Heroes. With Mzamil Mutiawa was previous at Mbale Heroes. He left Mbale Heroes. Talking of Alubanga Kenny and a couple of players, including Umaru Mukobi. Then, of course, Albert Chibirang also leaving Mbale Heroes. But there were a couple of new signings that also are joined the side of Mbale Heroes, including Davis Sekaja. Then you were talking about Dalton Oyo. I don't know how they can help this side with the Simon Cesars also leaving Nick, and then also Ronald Kaye are joining the side of Mbale Heroes. A couple of youngsters, but also a mix with experienced players, are helping a side that has just made it to fight football. They played their first game, lost it, and now they are playing at their own backyard against reigning champions AC Villa. I don't know with the new signings and then with the coach what we are anticipating today's game.
I think I give credit to the coach Richard Malinga, because he has done the most with what he has. He has brought in some players. You've spoken about Delton Oyo, and then there's Katumba, there is Oni in the midfield, there's Jeremy Matata, a couple of players there who are going really to help Mbale Heroes. The stability must be there, but also they need the squad depth. My say would be just fight for the home points. It's going to be vital for them if they can manage to fight for those points. Any team that comes to Mbale Municipal Stadium, that's a goal for them. With the way that they played versus Express FC, because they had some good possession of the ball, they created a host of chances. I even remember a good save from the Express FC goalkeeper from the left hand side. At least these are things that they need to look at when they're going to play AC Villa. They are at home. How do you make the home advantage work for you?
Of course, Chebatala also joined Mbale Heroes. Emerson told you, I know he's one of the players that you usually talk about during the big
Omar is my boy. I had him at Spartans, just like so many others, Isaac Ogwang, and the captain at Villa now, Owori. He's a captain. So I think it's going to be emotional, but the biggest challenge is going to be how these teams are going to play. When you look at how Mbale was playing against Express, you see that Malinga is doing exactly what Mole is doing at Villa, and they are all going through the footsteps of Mike Mutebi. And the challenge was Malinga was in this dugout and KB was in the dugout behind Mboa. They are all KCC made players. They want to play Kawowo. Now the question is, who is more prepared to play Kawowo? Villa has played it for quite some time. Mbale has come back in top flight. They lost. Are they going to react the same way? They were building the ball from the back and all that. And that is exactly what Mole wants to do. Now, if they outplay Sports Club Villa, Mole will be thinking, oh, my junior is now becoming better. So there is always that fiery moment for the coach. And, of course, Mole will want to do a lot more. We saw how Sam Simba was reacting when he was coaching a side against Mole Viekwa. So he was like, this is the system we all created, and I have to show that I'm the alpha male. So I think it's going to be a little harder. Who has the audacity to change a few things in that formation to get results will take the day. And I think for Villa, it's really cut out. You are on our side. You don't have to be very elaborate. Of course, you don't know the situation of the pitch. It might be green, but it might have some bumps, and you've not used it for quite some time. It's been long. I don't know whether any of the players in the Villa side, apart from Lubanga Kene, has actually played there for quite some time. Maybe the few that play in the drum. So it's a little harder for Villa than Mbale, but again, it's more nervous for Mbale being at home and having lost a game, and with the passion that they have had. You saw at the dinner so many people, Nandala Mafavi and the likes. The honorable speaker gave them over 100 million. So you think they are buoyant. It's going to be very emotional. On the pitch, the pressure is going to be very high, and in those pressure games, I'm worried sometimes the fluidity of the game changes. Interesting.
In there, of course, are getting more of the history. Mbale Heroes, it's a historical club. Obviously, it has been there for quite some time, but it's going to be making a grand return to Mbale Municipal Stadium after a period of 18 years. Football in Top Flight League will once again be played at Mbale Municipal Stadium with the Amama Saba. Bule said that there might be some bit of circumcision to the reigning champions, but we don't know about that. The 90 minutes will be deciding whether that will also be happening in Mbale around Mountain Elgon. But Bule, SC Villa on the other side, they are coming into the game scoring 4 goals in the opening game against Mbara City, but also considered 2 goals in that game. Mole Viekwa, so in an interview, said that it's going to be rectifying on such mistakes because they did a couple of mistakes that saw them conceding lousy goals, and he said that maybe they are going to be rectified. What do you make of SC Villa and how they have kicked off the season in their title defense?
It was a good start for them, getting that win versus Mbara City, which is stubborn. But when you look at how they won that game, it was magnificent from me. At least the way they play, they're trying to get the identity sorted out with their star players. And I credit Kakande, because where he stopped from last season, he has picked up. And he knows that the responsibility is on him as a player. Every time he receives the ball, he just knows one thing: let's go forward. Let me create. How can I make it work for my players? I saw over 4 through passes from him, 4 take-ons from him, at least dictating the play for AC Villa. This is what they really need from him, and they should pray that he remains in that stellar performances throughout the season, because he's the player of the season, definitely.
And actually, Bule, when you're making a point about Kakanda, I remember during such games when they are played on such fields, I remember him during the Gaddafi game last season, AC Villa, it was 0-0, and he was the guy to score that goal that made a difference on that evening.
And he's decisive. That's one thing about him. He reminds me of the Steven Bengals, Ibrahim Sadam Juma, and Sulaiman Mutiaba. Every moment that they had in their grasp. They just know I must make it work. And definitely in such a game which is going to be a bit compact, a bit close, you need intelligent players. And in those moments to be decisive, as Sendo spoke about it. So I see Villa as a team, lapses were there, and Molebek was acknowledged it. How are they going to rectify them? First of all, the goalkeeper. He needs to get stability sorted out. The goal that he conceded, the first goal versus Mbale City, I'm talking about Diego, their number one. He needs to really have that stability as a number one. Because there's Medi Chibige, there's Norman Angufindru, but also in the back line, they conceded a lot of set pieces. They should really get something sorted out in the back line. Because you're going to face Mbale Heroes, a team which is going to come through with a lot of crosses, with a lot of set pieces around the 18-yard area. And these are the things that Mole needs to look at and ensure that they get at least a clean sheet. Maybe a 0-0 can be good for them. Maybe a 1-1 or even a 1-0.
Okay.
Yeah.
With the times I've watched Sevilla, Arnold Odongo has stood out as the one defender that is unchangeable. They bring Cyrus Chibande, they bring Masembe, everyone, but they are partnered with Arnold Odongo. I don't know, what's the perfect partnership? Whom should Odong play with to maybe whom you've seen and say when they are partnered with Masembe, at least you see a compact team, you see a well-commanding side in Sevilla.
It's really hard to pick out because for Christ's sake, Chibande and Masembe are very young players and they are chosen to partner an averagely young lad. Of course, there is no experience in the back line. The experience would be coming from Owori, but he's not a defender. So when you look at the Villa defense, it's inexperience and lack of leadership, and the leadership must come from the goalkeeper in that situation. Because when you look at the history of Villa, there is always that young defender who is aggressive but very, very determined to produce. Even from the way back when William Kemba came in and broke into a team of senior players, he was relatively young. Coming to the 90s, as Nkemba is leaving, his younger brother, Ivan Kawoya, is coming in and is paired with Robert Muchibi. And then in the mid-90s, there, Agre Bigara comes in, a very young player, comes in but very combative, Batabaire and Mwesibwe. That has always been the flow. There is always that young player, very aggressive, but good on the ball and needs just somebody to command. And the stability we always saw was when Kenneth Semakula was playing as the sweeper. But now Masembe, when Masembe comes, he has to play on the left. That means Odong comes on the right. And when it is Chibande, then Odong goes to the left. So you don't expect that stability. But the main challenge for Villa is not even in the defense. It's the fact that their wingers are not real wingers. They are forwards. So in the aspect that the team attacks you, they don't have the shape, the transition shape of defending. So it takes the full-backs a lot of work to do. And then you have the two defenders exposed. And there is no defensive midfielder who tilts to come and become the third or to play the libero role. So that is their challenge. If Villa is scoring and winning, you don't see it. But when Villa needs to defend, that is when you realize how porous they are. And every match, I'm very sure they can easily concede. That is why they give away free kicks and all that. But with time, the medicine for that is Villa outscoring the opponents.
Obviously, Villa outscoring, but with just a few minutes to the kickoff, I don't know, Bole Alubanga Ken is going back to Mbale Municipal Stadium. I don't know whether you expect him to be among the players that are going to be chosen to be in the starting 11.
He should be. He should be wanting to be in the starting 11, but it's still early for him, I believe. Because when you look at the partnerships that you mentioned about, Cyrus Chibande, Masembe and then Odong, they've been doing quite well, even at the end of last season. So with time, he'll get in. But he has the experience. But right now, this is going to be a big game. Remember, it's a sort of a rivalry because AC Villa used to travel to Mbale, get the wins there. Right now, Mbale Heroes wants to make a statement that we are back. And believe me, they get a win versus AC Villa. Yes, they lost in Nachivubo in Ham Stadium, but this is going to be great for them if they can really stamp on it.
If they can really stamp on that one. But we are going to be heading in for a short commercial break, and we shall be right back to talk more of the starting 11, which players have been selected to play in today's game. the spirits of Abamasava home cooker must be awake, but SC Villa are also geared up and in high spirits to go and pick that away win against Mbale to make sure that the grand entrance of Mbale, we saw NEC FC, when Chira FC was making a grand entrance to their newly established stadium, Royals Park. NEC FC had other ideas on the evening, and Mbale FC also are making a grand entrance into the top flight football after 18 years. SC Villa might be having other ideas, and Mbale is good at predicting teams that are making grand entrance into top flight football, as he got it in that game against NEC Football Club. But we are going to be looking at the team selections today to see which players are trusted by the coaches to make sure they bring the points home or the points stay at Mbale Municipal Stadium. We shall start with the Jogos of SC Villa and see which players have stayed in the lineup in the game they played against Mbale City, and which other players have been maybe left on the bench. SC Villa, obviously, we see if there is any changes made by Mbale Kwaso to the side that actually got that win against Mbale City. James Brady, our coach, are remaining in goal. Ronald Sechigana, the captain, also coming in there, and then Elvis Ngonde also having his stay into the lineup. Francis Onekalit getting his second game at SC Villa. Pat Jonah Kakande, Hakim Chwanuka, David Old, Tony Atukunda, Hassan Msemakula, and Edward Masembe patterning Arnold Odongo. This is Atukunda.
Atukunda, I think, is the one at Vipers.
I thought that you talked
this one is Atukunda.
Yeah, but when it comes to football, it must be Atukunda, not Ankunda.
The SC Villa lineup.
It depends on how you play. If you are selfish, you are Ankunda. If you play with others, then you are Atukunda.
But Mbale, Masembe is going to be patterning Odongo. Atendo, as you anticipated, that maybe Masembe, despite the goals they conceded, he has remained in the side.
Well, actually, Masembe was first in the pecking order before Odong appeared. If you remember very well, things just changed when he got that injury. And Odong is a fast riser because by his nature, he suits the Villa setup. He is in that line of players like Geoffrey Bukohore and Emwesigwa, very tight in their game. And then, of course, they go forward to look for goals. So I think that is what gives him the bragging rights, and his call to the national team again has given him enough confidence, and he has to fight to stay there because it's a flip-flop situation with Paul Put. If you are not performing, you are not there. But the team doesn't change so much. Francis Onenkalit again starts ahead. He has been a very useful player when he was still at Ndeje. He had that leadership ability. It hasn't yet shown in Villa because of the nature of the team maybe, but if he clicks, you think that is going to work. But the person who is going to have a lot of say in this game is Tony Atukunda, because when he plays very well, he releases Elvis Ngonde and Sechiganda to go up front, and if they don't go up front in numbers or in pairs, they don't get the leeway, because when you look at Kakande and Hakim Chwanuka, like I said, they play on the wings, but they are forwards. They are not wingers. They are good when they have the ball, and they lose it because they try many audacious things. But the shape up coming back in transition to defend is not perfect for them, which gives the fullbacks a lot of work to do. If the team has wingers, like Mbale said, Mbale's greatest attribute is in the wing. You will see Sports Club Villa suffering on the wing, and actually, the more they suffer, the harder it is for them to
talking of Kakande is on the screen already in Mbale, doing the warm-ups. That's the live feed coming live from Mbale. You can see the coach is also taking part into the team's warm-up.
He's having a field day now. Back in the day, a player of that side would not have anything to do in Mbale because they would bring players the size of Benjamin Jamhuri. I don't know. Probably Benjamin Jamhuri is the height of Chief Edgar Watson. Now, Jamhuri is that size, Ibrahim Maruti that size, Bosco Masolo that size, Abedi Virose that size, Eugene Sepuya that size. So you don't think Kakande will have a chance in that situation. But today, things have changed. You will not see so many tall players in the Mbale side. So he might have a field day today. But the likes of Philip Sozi, Hakim Magumba always struggled in that Mbale pitch.
But on the screen, that is Tony Atukunda. Villa, Masembe and Ronald Sechiganda are warming up ahead of today's encounter. You can see they are all in the starting 11 in today's game against Villa. But briefly, Mbale, talking about James Brad Wakorachi, obviously is going to be up against a crazy atmosphere that could think that it's going to be electric with Mbale FC fans coming up in huge numbers. You anticipate that welcoming back at the top flight football at their own backyard. As the goalkeeper, what runs into your mind when you are up against such a side and in such a game of high magnitude?
The aura is there because they have the mentality that we managed to win the title last season. Will they have a follow-up on that? Time we have a say. That goalkeeper on the screen, Brady Wakorachi, needs to be stable. He needs to stabilize because he managed to hold off competition in the end of the last season. And then right now in this season, he's starting as the #1. At least try to show the faithfuls, the coach, plus the players that really I can do it for AC Villa. Conceding cheap goals, that's a no-go for a team like AC Villa. You know the fans are always waiting for that. Even the players, because this is a team that is really entitled to win every season the titles because it's coming back. But when you look at the overhaul that they did as AC Villa, I can cut them some slack even in this game. Onokali coming through, the likes of Masembe coming through still in the lineup because he fell out of the pecking order last season. Right now you see even Elvis Monde, he was not a perfect starter. Right now he's starting. This lineup is changed a bit, but the understanding is there. The understanding is there from the coach that we can really try to make it work. With players, Patrick John Akakande, and then Hakim Chuanuka. Their telepathy has been impressive. The game versus Mbara City, it was good because he was releasing him. And then Hakim Chuanuka has that pace to go forward, countering in transitions. Every time they get the ball, as fast as possible. So they should use it in today's game to ensure that they get a win.
Let's say I'll take a look at the hosting side Mbale FC, which 11 players have been given the mandate to go and attack SC Villa. Obviously, Delton Oyo, new signing, that goalkeeper. Delton Oyo is in goal. Abdul Malik Bilonse, captain, is in there. Faizo Abiona, Samson Kasozi, Isaac Ofoiroth, Bashir Oni, Ashram Shafiq Muzanyi, David Kaketo, David Sekaja, Jeremy Matata, Hassan Kato. When you look at that, they have a couple of young players in there. Very many young players.
It comes from the understanding from the coach Richard Malinga because he believes in grooming players, but he also believes in giving them a chance. That's why you see the likes of Wabiona coming through, David Sekaja coming through, and even Isaac Ofoiroth, even Bashiloni. These players have the intelligence with the ball. They know what to do with it. Only that they need to get the experience sorted out. Because the StarTimes Grand Premier League never lets. As we saw their game versus Express FC, there were as many lapses allowing Express FC to score. I will start with the back line. Abdul Malik Bilonse, captain, you must take the responsibility. And then Samson Kasozi, the partner. There were many lapses there in balancing the back line, but also in reshaping whenever they lose that balance in the back line. It falls to Delton Oyo. How are you going to command them to ensure that they're in their proper linings or proper positions? They need to work on that. And then in the midfield, Sekaja, the likes of Bashironi coming through, and then Ofoiroth will be vital because if they can really get the ball retained, then it will be good for them. But also trying to go forward as a team, then create chances for the likes of Jeremy Matata and Hakiram Shafiq Muzanyi.
A 10 of very young players have been trusted at Mbale Heroes side. They are new in the league. You would expect that maybe they would be having a couple of experienced players to help them out with these young players. But Delton Oyo, very young goalkeeper who was at SC Villa as well, after failing to get the playing time, he went to Mbale Heroes. Then take about David Sekaja. Very many young players in there. What do you make of that lineup?
It is the trend these days. Every team seems to be trusting young players. The few that are having experienced players or older players, I should say, because experience is a different thing. You might find a young player with enough experience to battle in the game. The good thing about this game is it's Mbale Heroes against Sports Club Villa, a side that also started the same way Mbale is starting. When Villa was signing these players, I remember even the Villa fans shouting, Today they are the same fans who are saying, our good players, our big players are going. And you wonder how big they transitioned. So players like Delton Oyo, Samson Kasozi, David Sekaja have an axe to grind. They were supposed to be Villa players. And somehow they failed to hold on places. And they are in the under-20 team of Mbale Byekwaso. So he knows them so well, and they would want to show him that they are good players. And the crowd might back them. Why? Mbale Heroes could be a big side, a historical side, but they know they are not bigger than Sports Club Villa. So you think that this game is not going to put them on so much pressure. Okay. If they manage to go minute by minute, they will gain in confidence, and it might be a cracker, because players like Faizo Wabiona also part of the under-20 project of Mbale Byekwaso. So he was at KCC, if you remember. Yeah. So he is well known to the coach Malinga. He could be released and unleashed to actually create havoc. But the challenge, like Bule said, would be on the back line. Abdul Malik Bironse is the son of Abed Bironse, the one I talked about, who left Mbale to join Sports Club Villa. So I think it is a club that the family knows so much about. I don't know how much he has talked to his dad about it and how he's going to be ready to fight, because to him it could be another walk. Perfect your act, and you might become a Villa player again, because I know very well, without disrespecting Mbale, every player in such teams would want to play in the top sides in Ugandan football and probably go to Europe. So he has his work cut out. And Samson Kasozi, is his talent notwithstanding, he had a few injuries. How he manages them amongst players who know him very well is going to be a little harder. The most experienced here is now Akram Muzanyi. He has been around for quite some time. He has been in Mbale for quite some time, so he's got the confidence. He has space. He has the ability to come and link up play and all that. And the fact that he still keeps Umaru Chebatala out means that he has a lot in his armory. Then Jeremy Matata, another exciting talent. You think that when he breaks through, he will be among those players from the West Nile that have taken the league by storm.
Okay. In addition to that, forward lines, they need to really use the 1v1s. That is 1 versus 1. Every time they get the ball in transitioning, because even the game versus Express, they got the chances to beat the Express back line, but only the wingers beating their respective defenders, but they didn't do it. In a game like this, where the fans are going to be around, just try to really stand out.
Actually, when I watched their game against Express FC, I think they were struggling with the decision making, especially Shot 7 Isaac Ofoiroth. He was given more of the balls, but he wasn't cutting inside and maybe making that a final pass that you could think that may get a goal, result into a goal. The back line, they stood quite well, but there are also some bit of lapses. I don't know whether Coach Malinga really worked on those certain areas of improvement.
Well, it depends on what type of player comes, because football is funny. You might have a bad day, the other match, and then you come better. The reverse is also true, but the magnitude of the game also will work. If they choked at Nachivubo Stadium, you would think that some of them might even choke at Mbale, because I'm not very sure that all these players have gotten the time to play in the capacity stadium that I expect. Because if you combine the Mbale Heroes fans and you combine the haters and then Villa traveling fans and then the Villa ilk that is in Mbale, it might be a similar situation to the Fufa drum. And such players might sometimes be inspired, or other times actually choke.
Okay. Yeah. Mbule, but Mbale FC, Mbale Heroes coming into the game without a single point. There are two opening games. Playing against Express FC, and after playing Express FC, 7-time champions, you are playing against 17-time champions in your second game of the season. I don't know what's running in the minds of such players that are new in the top flight football, and they are trying to make things happen to the side of Mbale Heroes.
They had a great game versus Express FC. Only that their mentality was not there to get that win. Because if you remember, even at the end of the first half, they were about to score a goal, only for their Express goalkeeper to make a wonder save. And then second half coming through, only some lapses denied them, but at least they showed that intent. Sekaja coming through to score that goal, that is intent. Right now, the corrections need to have made. At least the coach, Richard Malinga, needs to correct them and ensure that they get it going for themselves. As I've spoken about it, in their transition, in going into attacks, and then that back line, just not lapsing, it will be perfect for them.
Okay, perfect for them, Bule anticipates. But for now, we are going to be heading straight to Mbale Municipal Stadium to hear what the coaches have to say about this game.
Thank you very much. By the name, I'm called Mibolo Juma, coach in Mbale Heroes. We lost our first game against the Express. and right now we are versing champion. I think we are at home. That is the first thing, and that is the first thing we should put in our minds and even in our game. We saw that last time we missed a lot of chances. This time around, we have tried to look upon that and to correct where we went wrong. We saw that we had many chances in their box, but we are not scoring. So that's where we have focused much. And also, being that we are versing the champion, we looked at it as in a big way that we should attack them, but also at the same time we should defend them. Last time you say flowing game. This time around you see some changes in the game, being that we respect them, though we are at home, they are the champion. They have senior players in the squad, so we are looking at it as our game strategy. And also we hope this time around the chances we missed last time to convert them to the...
For starters, just one change from the team that played against Express. Edgar Katumba is dropping to the bench and Faizo Wabiona is in the starting lineup. Would you please account for this change?
Of course, in our previous training, we saw it that Wabiona Faizo was doing better than Edgar. And we also think that this time around Katumba will come in the second half, because last time we saw that Katumba missed many chances, and in the training we have seen that this man has done better than Edgar. That's the reason why he has come in.
Thank you, coach.
Yeah, welcome.
Match Day Live.
I have to thank the Almighty for the gift of life, and I thank the players and coaches for the work done in the previous game. But this is a new game, it's a new chapter. This team has a wonderful coach. I saw their game on video. Coach Richard, we worked with him. This game is going to be very interesting because his team is full of attacking options. The way he handled Express was wonderful. If you could analyze the video, he takes numbers into your half. He has players who are willing to play, who are willing to run. His team is a team to watch, not only on this game, but the way they play, the way they have the structure. Positional sense is high, and they are young. So I think we are going to have a very, very terrible problem today. So this pitch is a bit wide, it's hard, it's a bit bumpy. So we have to keep the ball so much in the final third. If we keep the ball in their final third so much, in their defensive area so much, it will help us achieve what we want. Ball needs to be there for some seconds, and the midfielders support. If it become a problem to them in their half, that means we have to create a lot of chances to punish them. But if we are not staying there, if we are not keeping the ball there, then it will be the opposite.
Thank you, Coach Mbale.
Two coaches accounting to why they chose such players to play this game, with Mbale Heroes, a coach asserting that Faizo Wabiona is starting ahead of Katumba because he did prove him in the training that he can score goals. It's on rare occasions you see coaches asserting things like putting things straight to the record. that I have taken this decision basing on such and such, but I've seen Mbale Heroes, a coach, being straight with all the things that's made in the lineup. I don't know, Attendo, as such coaches of such character are rare in Ugandan football.
Yeah, well, we try to be creative, of course, but I think it is obvious. Okay. It is only winning team that is hard to change. Yeah. If a team lost, there has to be something that went amiss. So I wouldn't think that it's a problem. If Davis Sekaja is the one who scored, defensive midfielder, that means nobody up front has a right to stay unless you were part of the goal contributions and the others missed chances. And we all see that from all the game that they had, they missed that spark in the final third, and Wabiona has the capability to do that. But again, having Katumba on the bench is not a bad thing, because we saw him coming off the bench during his Express days and making a lot of havoc. So I think it could be a strategy. And when you look at how Villa is planning to play, probably Katumba will not be the easy man to play in that role, because if Villa wants to be in the final third, like the coach says, you need a midfielder who can drop back and try to pick the ball and come back. And Katumba is a typical forward. So I think it could be a strategy that works well for them. Okay,
Mbale Morebiok was also assured that maybe he can get maximum points away from home. But what do you make of his selection? Maybe his words, he respects Mbale Heroes, a side that has visited the stadium. He knows what can happen. They tend to be a stubborn side as well.
I believe there's going to be a change of strategy according to the way he was really placing his words, because Mbale Municipal Stadium cannot be a playground for their style of play. Definitely get the ball as fast as possible into the enemy territory. Maybe you can experience long balls, you can experience those crosses, and then the counter-attacks. That is what he was implying. And I believe it's what he should do, because ball retaining can be a hard task when you're going to face a hard knack like Mbale Heroes.
We used to wait and go to Mbale Municipal Stadium.
We used to wait for results at the taxi park.